stand with our brothers and sisters in Palestine. We're going to stand with our brothers and sisters who are... From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
But we need to understand, dismantling in every place that we have, and when I say cricket is something that is well known, although it's not cricket that's being played in that part of the world at the moment. We are sometimes batting. What we need to be doing is bowling bouncers. We are defending, and that needs to be done. But we also need to be bowling the bouncers so that we are taking out those people, those organizations, dismantling those organizations that are proponents of Zionism. Remember, our stance is not just pro-Palestine, it is against Israel. From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
Traitor, traitor! Traitor, traitor! Traitor, traitor! Traitor, traitor! Traitor, traitor! Traitor, traitor! CC, can't you hear? CC, can't you hear? CC, can't you hear? CC, can't you hear? The Ummah's here! The Ummah's here! The Ummah's here! The Ummah's here! 2 months in the first live stream genocide in history. It is 581 days since we were shaken into action, awoken from our deep slumber. For 581 days we made dua, we prayed, we boycotted, we tweeted, we posted, we protested, we cried, and we shouted, and we gave charity. Some appealed to the UN, ICC and ICJ, but one after the other, these institutions showed themselves to be impotent in a world order built on the dominance of Western powers, where might is right and injustice is rife.
Shame! Shame!
The cruel irony is that 2 days ago, Europe celebrated the 80th anniversary of victory against the Nazis, while today its government supports an active genocide against the Palestinians. What brings us here today is an awakening which has swept across the world in the past couple of months in particular. That is that this genocide will not be stopped without military intervention. As protests erupted from Morocco to Indonesia, many denounced the complicity of the Muslim regimes and demanded that the militaries intervene to break the siege and end the genocide. But we stand here 581 days into the first live stream genocide in history, and no military has moved to end it. So why do we still call upon them? I want to make 3 points that I think everyone must reflect on and share. Number one, the armed forces are both the problem and the solution. It is not that the armed forces are merely spectators in this genocide. It is a shame, but I have to admit that they are active participants. When people across the world demand that we march towards Gaza, who do you think will stop you getting to the border? It will not be the Israeli forces. It pains me to say, but it will be the Egyptian and Jordanian forces on the command of their tyrant rulers. But the reality is also clear, that it is also the armed forces that hold the key to ending this genocide.
So brothers and sisters, what I'm going to do in the next 5 minutes is just to appeal to not just you guys, because you guys are already brave, but to people watching and listening to lose your fear. Lose your fear of doing the right thing. And when I say doing the right thing, what do I mean by that? It's basically to loudly proclaim that Israel is a racist, thieving, genocidal state which can only be stopped by powerful armies. That's the essential message, because brothers and sisters, we have tried everything over the past year and a half. We've tried protesting, we've tried boycotting, we've tried raising awareness, we've tried even direct action, and of course, alhamdulillah, that's been successful to a certain extent. You know, a couple of years ago, Israel was the darling of the mainstream media and the political class, but now its reputation is in the dustbin. And basically, you know, 2 years ago, you so much as dare criticize Israel, you'll be labeled an anti-Semite. But now, frankly, who cares to be labeled an anti-Semite? Because if you haven't been labeled an anti-Semite, you ain't working hard enough for Palestine, brothers and sisters. But Israel has been exposed, brothers and sisters. It's been exposed not by the mainstream media, it's been exposed by social media. Forget the mainstream media. It's been exposed by the genocidal rhetoric of Israeli leaders and generals themselves, exulting in the expulsion of Palestinians, in their extermination. It's also been exposed by the wanton images of death and destruction that you and I see every day on our mobile phones. And now opinion polls across the West, the traditional supporters of Israel, they're shifting massively, and that's why Zionists are apoplectic about losing the information war. But let's not kid ourselves, brothers and sisters, this isn't enough. The genocide continues today, I would argue, worse than ever before. And the clock is frankly ticking, because Palestinians face an existential threat now of extermination, of expulsion. So we need action now before the Zionists literally expel the Palestinians from their land, exterminate them and destroy Masjid al-Aqsa. Do you really want to be part of that generation, brothers and sisters, that lost Palestine? Do you?
No!
Because I would rather be dead or in jail than be part of that disgraceful generation. So now, brothers and sisters, we need to raise our voices clearly to call for armed intervention, not by one Muslim nation, but by several and in unison. And some people will call you an anti-Semite or supporting terrorism, a supporter of terrorism for saying that. But as I said before, frankly, who cares? Because it's not illegal, brothers and sisters, to call for armed intervention to stop a genocide. It's not illegal or immoral to call for the Palestinians to have the right to defend themselves. In fact, it's enshrined in international law.
Okay, so my name is Roshan Mohammed Saleh. I'm the editor of 5 Pillars. I'm a journalist, and I focus on issues related to the Muslim community in the UK and abroad. And the reason why I came down here today was to give a speech about basically to warn people about the dire situation in Palestine, and that we've basically been boycotting for a year and a half. We've been protesting, we've been doing direct action, raising awareness, but it's not enough. Alhamdulillah, it's achieved a lot in terms of shifting public opinion, but we haven't got years to wait before the West decides to stop supporting Israel. So the logical thing to do is that the clock is ticking, and therefore we need to call for clear intervention on behalf of Muslim countries and Muslim armies in particular to either fight Israel, threaten Israel, launch economic warfare on Israel, do something direct against Israel, which will ultimately stop them committing this genocide. So obviously this is an uphill task, there's no doubt about that. We've seen that Muslim nations are in the pocket of the West, in effect, or they're scared of the West and they're despotic countries, their armies are generally under their control. But we've also seen the Arab Spring relatively recently where, populations rose up and even armies rose up. So things can change, and ultimately Muslim armies are full of, I have no faith in Muslim rulers. They're certainly corrupt, and I don't think anyone has any faith in them whatsoever. In fact, they're kindred spirits with Israel and the Zionists. But I think Muslim armies are comprised of ordinary people, like you and me, that cry when they see the death and destruction in Gaza. So I think it's a process of shaming and raising awareness. And, what we're here today is to try and raise that awareness, to call clearly. There's so much despotism in the Arab world in particular that people can't speak freely. But, social media is a very powerful instrument these days. And, one speech made in front of 10 people can go absolutely viral all around the world, and it can have that cumulative effect. And I guess that's what we're here today to try to raise awareness in the hope that populations will move and armies will move. My final message would be just to put Gaza first. Obviously Muslims, especially living here in the West, we have very comfortable lives comparatively, and I think we have put the dunya ahead of the akhirah to a large extent, and I include myself in that category. And I think compared to, that is not the Islamic mindset. The Islamic mindset is not to have a life of comfort, it's to struggle, it's to welcome struggle, and it's to pass that test, because ultimately life is a test, and that's how we get into Jannah. And I would urge Muslims to, kind of put Gaza in front of their freedom, put Gaza in front of the prospect of them losing their jobs, and to speak out clearly and not be afraid of the consequences, because we cannot be the generation that loses Palestine, that loses Al-Aqsa. We don't want to be, I mean, I said in my speech that I'd rather be dead than be part of that generation, and I think that I want that mindset to become a common mindset amongst everybody in the Ummah.